Hi, this is an intro to Storylabs. So you go to storylabs.app, sign up. So I'm at teacher sign up right now. I fill out my information and then I click on sign up. And you'll notice that there is, I'm going to save this, Harriet Fake. So there's nothing here on purpose because different people use it for different reasons. So you have to go to enter a book code and put in what you want to use. In this case, I'm going to use Hedstrom. These are Spanish books generously donated by Virginia Hildebrandt and Bryce Hedstrom, which are free until July 1st. So these are our books. We have cultural fiction, cultural nonfiction, embedded readings, songs, step-by-step stories, and stories for beginners. So I have all of these books. This is my teacher view. I could go in and I could listen to it.
La chica baja hay una chica que se llama Chaparra.
And then I have activities that I can do. Vocabulary, I have questions, I have story. So I'm going to add a classroom because I want my students to be able to enjoy this. So I'm going to call it Spanish 5B. And then here it is under my classrooms. I'm going to click on it. And first I'm going to manage some books. So I want my students to read these short stories. I'm going to close it. I'm going to give my class a class code. And to make it easier to remember, I'm just going to have it be the same thing. So I click on Save Code. Now you'll notice that the URL, you could just copy this, or all of the instructions will be on your clipboard if you click on here. So I just clicked, and now I'm ready to email them to my students. And let me show you what it looks like. When you paste it, this is the information that I just copied and pasted. So here is the URL, and this is when they sign up. And after signing up, they're going to follow these instructions. They'll enter their class code and then their password, which they're going to create. So I'm going to pretend I'm one of the students, and let's log out of this classroom. I think okay, so my teacher just told me that I need to go here, so I'm going to paste in my join class code. Now I'm going to put in my name, and then I create my password. And this is a reminder that next time I go in, I put in my class code, which is Spanish 5B, and the new password I just typed in. I'm going to save it. So now I can go in and do my work. And I'm going to listen to the story.
A la 1 de la mañana su madre grita, serpiente, serpiente. Luis.
Now I'm going to do some Quizlet. And when I do Quizlet, I teach my students to answer with English so they can hear the Spanish. I like when I'm just beginning to do multiple choice and to have the audio
No
on.
me gustan. No me gustan. La luz.
So I can hear it
suavemente
and choose which one it means. There are various ways that I can play with this. So I'm going to do the matching game now. And what I tell my students is I want them to try and better their score by at least half. So students can go to their notebook and say, my best score was 8.2 on match. This is a way for them to give accountability. And then they could say, let's see, learn helped when it read it aloud. There we go. So the teacher will be able to see this and how they're commenting on their progress. Another thing students can do, spell is an excellent one because they have the meaning.
Grita mucho.
And it will correct them. I intentionally did it wrong.
Grita. G-R-I-T-A. Mucho. Grita mucho.
So it's individualized practice. It's very nice.
Bonitos.
Now, when you can do this all along, mastery comes. I tell my students that mastery is when you can go to the flashcards and be able to say this in Spanish. So they would say, a la una.
A la 1 de la mañana.
De la mañana o de la madrugada. It's very, very early, so. Corre.
Corre.
And if students see they can do that, they can check it off and say, I have mastered vocabulary, and the teacher can say, can see that they have. Same thing with story. Mastery is measured. Again, when it's learned, you want to hear as much as you can with English. So answer with English, so Spanish comes first, and turn your audio on.
Luis saca el reptil. Luis duerme en la hamaca. Su madre grita.
Okay, so they're getting a lot of input, and then finally, after they go through all these things, they go to flashcards, and they're able to say, Luis duerme en la hamaca o el hamaca?
Luis duerme en la hamaca.
Ah, that's what I thought, so I'm pretty close. Now they can say whether they mastered it or not. They can star it if you need more help. So those features are there. And then they can denote mastery again. So let's see. Even though the teacher can see it, I mastered vocabulary and story. They also can play the games. This is good practice. Now when they're doing this, it might be, let's see. They just drag it up, and they can check it and see if it's right or wrong. So they have automatic feedback. Sorry, my door slammed in the wind. It must be windy out there. Information on how to play the game is on this little question mark here. This is a cultural piece, which is pretty fantastic. It's beautiful. And then we have some information just on, this is nonfiction, cultural nonfiction. So we have a whole bunch of stuff students can work with in here and gain mastery on the vocabulary and on reproducing. So now I'm going to log out, and I'm going to go back in as a teacher. So this was my email that I saved, and I'm going to see how much work Larry did. So I'm going back to the classroom, and here's Larry. And if Larry ever forgets his password, I can either change it for him or remind him that this is here. The teacher has access to all of the passwords. So let's see how Larry did in his usage report. This is rounded up from 10 minutes if they don't have an end date, and it looks like he had 2 things mastered and he has some notes. So Larry checked in and he did some work. And let's see his journals. So we click on his name and we can see the book and the title where he did it. And he wrote, my best score was 8.2 on match. So it's also, this is a great place for students to write what they didn't understand so the teacher can talk about it in class. So this is how teachers run their classroom. And to introduce the other book codes we have are freebies, which is 2 other novels, one bilingue and one called about the coronavirus, and some mini books that are printable. We have another code for French. And these are down here, all of the same stories in French. We also have English. There they popped up. And we also have Spanish. And Spanish is the same thing as Headstrom, except for they're called a step-by-step series, and they're a little bit more involved. So you'll notice that these were the ones that were added. And this has it day by day. So let me see, I have to log back into mine to activate that one. So day 1, the goal is story comprehension. Day 2, the goal is comprehension questions. Day 3, question asking. Day 4, story retell. And day 5, my story.